RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, good kind people? Checking out a special Tuesday night edition of the RCWR show, covering all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Here we are for May 25th, 2021. Can't believe this month of May is pretty much in the books. I still can't believe it. It still feels like the month of May began, for me at least, last week. No bullshit. I mean, time is just really flying by so fast. It's just freaking ridiculous, man. And then the next thing you know, I'm going to be enjoying me some nice, good drinks, kicking back, relaxing on the beach, enjoying my honeymoon / vacation. Looking forward to it. So, gotta apologize to you guys. We are coming on just a tiny little bit late. And that was mainly because I got out of work a little bit late tonight, and I tried to do my best to get on top of watching NWA Power, and pretty much by the time I got home, I had to do some stuff that was wedding related, so that kind of had me sidetracked for a little bit. I just a couple of minutes ago actually got done watching NXT. So pretty much saw everything that I needed to see. Didn't really skip that much. But yeah, so sorry for the delay, because we originally were supposed to come on at 10:30 p.m. tonight. So about an hour late. But this is still going to be a really nice short show. And when I say short, we're going to try to do about an hour, maybe hour 10. And then we're pretty much going to be done. Now, something else that I want to apologize to you guys about. I want to get this out the way off the break. If you're looking for a Monday show, this is where you guys that tune in live, and I'm especially talking to those of you that check out the show live Monday nights on YouTube, or you maybe are watching on Twitch, or you're watching on Twitter. Listen up. And I was really disappointed that, because we had a decent amount of people that were tuning in live to the Monday night show. You're trying to tell me that nobody thought it was weird that the stream went away on those platforms I just talked about, and that the stream came back. Nobody thought that was weird. So, in case you don't know, at some point, the stream got interrupted on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And as a result of that, the show essentially got split into two parts. However, for our Facebook audience was okay. They were able to sit there in one sitting and enjoy the episode. So, I didn't know this until after the show was over. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And I see that last night's show was split in two. I'm going, ay. So I took the task of putting both shows together and tried uploading it to YouTube. I must have uploaded the show to YouTube probably maybe 3 times. And I don't know what was going on. It was some type of a codec issue, some type of a rendering issue. Long story short, that episode was not able to be uploaded, that webcast version. So I actually ended up downloading the Facebook version of that episode, and I successfully was able to upload it to YouTube. So I'm actually going to have that one be scheduled as a premiere that you all will be able to catch tomorrow afternoon. I'll probably have it go live probably around noon or 1 o'clock. I'm going to take a look at the analytics, see when you guys are mostly active during that day. And that's pretty much when it's going to go live for you guys. You'll be able to chat with me live in the chat, and in real time I'll be responding to you all's comments, reacting to what you're reacting to as you're watching the episode and everything. But I cannot stress this enough. When you guys are tuned in live, especially on those Monday night shows, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Twitter, you're watching on Twitch, and you notice that the feed interrupts and then it comes back, just pop a little brief message. Just say, hey man, are you aware your stream stopped and restarted? As long as you say that like definitely gives me a good idea of what exactly is going on, so I can try to address the situation right then and there on the spot. Because it can be something as simple as, maybe I have too many applications open or something like that. So, and plus it puts you in a really good position where, you get your show in one sitting. You don't have to, heaven forbid, you got to go look for 3, 4, 5 fucking shows that's basically broken down in 3, 4, 5 parts because of a connection issue or whatever. But I mean, look, if you guys aren't going to be saying anything, I mean, please continue the trend. Because I mean, honestly, I got no problem having this show be one of those type of shows that's honestly available for on demand and the download. So I know you guys like the whole interaction and all that. I love interacting with you guys, but you got to do me that solid. It's like together we're supposed to be a team, right? We're supposed to be a team. So I try to cover you all's back. You guys got to definitely make sure you're covering my back when it counts the most. Appreciate that in advance. So NWA Power, NXT, NWA Power had their season finale, as they're pretty much setting up things for their When Our Shadows Fall pay-per-view event that's going to be dropping on June the... God, I keep forgetting the freaking date of that. I keep thinking it's June 6th, and I actually might be right. Let's see. Let me look at the official card here. June 6th, yes. Hey, I finally remembered it. For the longest time, I kept saying June the 5th, but they did their season finale tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a hot second. Let's deal with what just went off the air not long ago, and that was a new NXT. It was a super deluxe edition of NXT, as in our main event match, we had Karrion Kross defending the NXT World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor. Balor, Kross, Part 2. Pretty damn good main event match for NXT, I have to say. And if you want to just get my thoughts overall about tonight's NXT, overall, I felt it was a very solid show. I thought they hit a home run with this one. I'm most curious how the ratings for this one is going to be, quite honestly. No surprise, Karrion Kross walking out of this still your NXT World Heavyweight Champion. I don't think anybody was surprised by that outcome, although I will say we had a couple of people that were under the impression that some of our listeners, at least, some actually wanted for Finn Balor to walk away with the NXT Championship. As I alluded to on Monday Night Show, as a somewhat, I think it was a question or maybe more so a statement, I really wasn't sure, but it was from one of our listeners, as I doubled down on the point they were trying to make. I just don't see that happening because, in case those of you didn't check out Monday's show, the question / statement was brought up about Finn Balor potentially defeating Karrion Kross, pretty much takes that championship with him over to SmackDown and gets in the face of Roman Reigns and tries to challenge him. For some of you guys, that may sound kind of cool. I don't know, to each its own. But for me personally, I just did not see that happening. I just didn't see that on the cards. And I went into great detail why I felt the way that it was going to go down the way that it went down. But great main event match that they had tonight. Definitely, I enjoyed this bout more so than what they did with the first installment. But as far as what's on the horizon for Karrion Kross, give you guys a little clue. William Regal had made an announcement that on next week's NXT, this was right before the main event match had came about, there's going to be a triple threat match. It's going to be Pete Dunne taking on Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly. That's going to be your triple threat match. And whoever comes out of that triple threat match, they are going to be facing the NXT World Heavyweight Champion at the NXT TakeOver In Your House event. So remember, that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. If you guys want to know the exact date of when In Your House is going down, it is happening on June the 13th. I repeat, NXT In Your House, the 2021 edition, is going to be going down on June 13th. And June 13th, this calendar year, looks like that's going to be falling on, I want to say a Saturday? No, that's going to be on a Sunday. That pay-per-view is going to be on a Sunday. I can't wait to see exactly what's going to be going on as far as the NBA playoff picture goes and what games we're going to be having on at that point, because you know we're still going to be pretty knee-deep into the NBA playoffs. I think by that point we should be into the second round. We should be into the second round of the playoffs, give or take. I only mention that because you got to think about the real estate that's potentially going to be dominating on that respective Sunday night for viewers' attention and all that. So I have no doubt in my mind that NXT is definitely going to be rising to the occasion with that one. So keeping in mind about that triple threat match that's going to be coming about on next week's NXT between Gargano, O'Reilly, Pete Dunne. Look, me personally, I would love to see Pete Dunne taking on Karrion Kross. I think that would be, just on paper, those two names, I mean, that would probably be a respected match of the year candidate, without a doubt. Whether or not that's going to happen, that remains to be seen. I don't think it will, given some of the events that transpired earlier in the night and setting up this main event match, because earlier in the night you had Pete Dunne, who was in action against Bobby Fish. And boy, that, besides the main event match, that was another match that I enjoyed quite thoroughly. I mean, just from a technical aspect, I thought both men really went in there and they hit a fucking home run tonight. So my hat's off to Pete Dunne and Bobby Fish there. They delivered a instant classic. And Pete Dunne defeated him decisively in the middle of the ring. But it was post-match where you're going, Oney Lorcan just kirked the hell out. He just flipped out and he just started going belligerent on Bobby Fish, trying to injure his arm and everything. You had officials, a couple of EMTs come out. They were checking on Bobby Fish and everything. So kind of having that in the back of your mind, you're going, okay, well, obviously Bobby Fish is going to want some type of retribution there. So kind of keeping that in mind, is it going to be a case where Bobby Fish is solely squared and focused on just Oney Lorcan, or is he also eyeing Pete Dunne as well? So, you know, you kind of have to kind of think like that. So, you know, it's potential that Bobby Fish may interfere to some degree in that triple threat match, trying to extract some type of revenge on that vicious beatdown that he got this week and everything. Pete Dunne, by the way, in case I didn't really stress it enough, picked up his victory over Bobby Fish tonight. So, but perfect world, I'd love to see Pete Dunne taking on Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship. I'm just not sure if it's going to go in that direction. So just kind of taking Pete Dunne out of the picture, now you're left with Kyle O'Reilly and Johnny Gargano. Not quite seeing Johnny Gargano. Not quite seeing that whatsoever. Though that would be another cool matchup, I personally think, because Johnny Gargano stays dying. I mean, everything is thrown at him but the kitchen sink. and then some when it comes to his matches. That is a guy that just never will die. So I'm sure on paper, that's another one that you can kind of look at and say, and despite the height, weight, I mean, that's significant as far as a differential there. Significant difference, height and weight wise, between Kross and Gargano. But still, I would say that should be a pretty damn good matchup as well. But I'm not quite seeing Gargano there. So, it very well could be Kyle O'Reilly and Karrion Kross at NXT in your house. I can see it going down. I think the real question, though, is Karrion Kross going to defend that title successfully and cleanly, or Kyle O'Reilly going to have some unfinished business with one Adam Cole? I would not be surprised if Adam Cole were to make his triumphant return by In Your House. I can just kind of see it playing out right now. Kyle O'Reilly's so close to living his dream, fulfilling his dream, post-UE, getting so close to becoming the new NXT World Heavyweight Champion and everything. And then wham, next thing you know, out of nowhere, Adam Cole, the unfinished business, feud reignited and everything. Karrion Kross gets away, still holding on to that championship, courtesy of that little bit of an assistance from Adam Cole. So I could definitely see something of that nature playing out. We just gotta wait and see. We got a couple more weeks to go until NXT Takeover, but we'll see how it pans out. But that was another good matchup I enjoyed tonight. Once again, hats off to Pete Dunne and Bobby Fish. Good matchup that they had tonight. Rest of the card here, just looking at some more action that we got here from NXT tonight. Where are we? Hang on here. Let me pull up my there we go. All right, look at some more of the action we got. Let's see. The opening was actually pretty good. I actually got to give it up to all four girls there. The opening was actually pretty good. Shotzi Blackheart, Amber Moon taking on Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. The team of Kai. And actually, you know what? Hang on. Let me think. Was it Kai? I'm trying to think who won that matchup. I'm just trying to picture it in my head here. Yeah. Blackheart, Amber Moon. That team had picked up the win. That actually was a pretty good, energetic matchup. Quite surprised by the ending there. I have to say, I was a little bit surprised at that, because I was expecting for things to go in the direction of Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, but that's not how it went. And I got to tell you, particularly, I enjoyed the matchup there between Amber Moon and Raquel Gonzalez, and just the way Raquel was able to hold her own there against, the way Amber Moon was able to hold her own there against Raquel Gonzalez. I'm definitely intrigued. I want to see a matchup between these two women for that NXT Women's Championship. And I tell you what, I say this off and on, but you can just really tell looking at Amber Moon this go round in NXT that she feels revigorated, that she feels refreshed, re-energized and everything. And it's really, really showing in her work. She just does not look like she has been phoning it in since she's been back down there at NXT. And I tell you what, the pairing that she has there with Shotzi Blackheart, I think it's been a really good thing for Amber Moon, quite honestly. But yeah, I mean, when Amber Moon and Gonzalez were going at it there for a hot little bit, enjoyed it. Nice sequence of counters and everything. I loved it. I freaking loved it. So I definitely would not mind seeing somewhere down the road those girls lock it up again. Post-match, Gonzalez jumping Shotzi Blackheart and Amber Moon. Gonzalez was just a beast. I love how she was just towering over her opponents here, dominating over them, laying the hurt on these girls here, letting them know who is reigning supreme. Good, solid fucking shit right there. I loved it. Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher making a brief appearance. They pretty much were cutting a little promo on the grizzled young veterans, promising a round 3, blood, massacre, all that good stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Mercedes Martinez was in action. She took on Zeta Ramir. Pretty much a squash match. Shout out to Zeta Ramir, though, because Zeta Ramir selling like a mofo. I mean, that girl was just, some of those moves she was taking, you just couldn't help but go, no, legit, seriously, is she okay? Because she looked like she got knocked silly in the next week with some of the moves she was taking from Mercedes Martinez. Post-match was kind of interesting because the lights went out, kind of come back on as we see a whole bunch of red smoke, and Mercedes Martinez is surrounded by all of this smoke, and then there's a blue light that comes up, and we see the Tian Shai's symbol that's on Martinez's hand. So you can't help but wonder, okay, we kind of have seen this pattern before where you're next. So, it's kind of safe to say we know what's next in store for Mercedes Martinez there. We had the $1 million face-off between Ted DiBiase and Cameron Grimes. When I first heard about this, I was looking quite forward to this. I was. And $1 million Man, for what it was worth, he's held up pretty good. He has. And not for nothing, I've seen him off and on the past couple of weeks and everything, but we got to remember most of that stuff that we were seeing of Ted DiBiase, we had the nice, good, high definition cameras that were rolling around. This was post-production stuff that we were seeing and everything. We weren't seeing live stuff. So to be able to see Ted DiBiase live, almost in person, so to speak, in the ring tonight, it was definitely a welcome breath of fresh air and everything, and still looks pretty damn recognizable. Face hair and all, he may have picked up just a tiny little bit of weight, but hey, it happens to the best of us and everything. I loved Ted DiBiase's back and forth with Cameron Grimes for the little bit that we had it. Cameron Grimes came off a little bit, I won't say, I've heard better promos. Let me put it to you that way. I've heard better promos, better counterpoint. I've heard better stuff from Cameron Grimes in previous years. He kind of seemed a little bit not shaky, not like in a nervous type of way, but it just wasn't one of his best exchanges that I've seen since he's been down there in NXT. I think that's safe to say. But he did just enough of a good job for me. I personally felt, just when it seemed as though the segment was maybe starting to go a little bit off the rails, LA Knight comes in there. And LA Knight is trying to make a play for Ted DiBiase. Hey, don't waste all your time and energy on this guy. You should be spending it on me. Everything that I've been doing so far, I'm definitely going places. So $1 Million Man definitely liked what he was hearing. Cameron Grimes tried to put the spotlight back on him, telling LA Knight he needed to mind his business, roll the hell out and everything. Otherwise, he was going to get his ass dropped right there in the ring. LA Knight proceeded to back off. Cameron Grimes tried to continue on with his conversation with Ted DiBiase. LA Knight attacking Grimes from behind, laying him out. Ted DiBiase says to Cameron Grimes, you just don't learn, kid. You just don't learn, do you? Rolled out, and it would appear that the $1 Million Man has aligned himself with LA Knight. So it appears. Have found out a little bit more on that on next week's NXT there, and see what the story with that is. Indy Hartwell was on the search for Dexter Lumis. Boy, if there's one major takeaway I had from seeing Indy Hartwell just go running around all over the place looking for Dexter Lumis, how tall that girl is. I'm seeing her cross paths with the little blonde commentator or backstage interviewer. I'm seeing her, like, she's towering over her. I'm seeing her tower over the guys in Ever Rise, or as I like to call them, Ever Ready, the fucking batteries. I see her towering over Drake Maverick, and it's like, goddamn, she's tall. But she finally comes across this room that Drake Maverick says, hey, a couple hours ago, I saw him in this room here. You know, maybe he's still in there. She goes in there, and there's nothing but all of this original artwork that's all over the place. And a lot of it, the main theme is basically Dexter's heart has been broken by Indy. And pretty disturbing images, I gotta say. So Indy definitely seemed a bit taken back, a little bit hurt by it as well. To what extent is she going to continue pursuing Dexter Lumis to try and explain to him, you know, hey, I'm sorry, there was some type of miscommunication, blah, 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 blah. Or is, at this point, what she saw in that room, is it pretty much enough for her to take a step back and just leave that guy alone? That's kind of another one of those, tune in next week for another edition of As the World Turns. You know, kind of one of those type of deals. Frankie Monet made her in-ring debut, taking on Cora Jade. Frankie did pretty good. You know, another squash match right here, though. Another squash match, but Monet came into this rocking the confidence, dominating at the same time. You know, Jade had a little bit of offense in there, but it didn't mean diddly squat, because it just seemed whatever offense she was trying to build up, it was just irritating Monet even more, and she was just stopping homegirl dead in her fucking tracks and everything. But for the little bit that I saw of Jade, Cora Jade, you know, nice looking face and everything, kind of decent what I saw of her in the ring. I'd like to see her get some more opportunities there on NXT, or at least now that WWE is going to be doing these live events again, maybe we can kind of get her some house show experience, get her some more matches under her belt and all that. But she, Cora Jade, that is, she seems pretty promising. But this was all about Frankie Monet and everything. So Frankie Monet, we definitely got to keep our eyes on her. That's definitely one girl I'm picturing that could potentially give it some time. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe in about 90 days, give or take, I would not be surprised if she is somehow involved in the NXT Women's Championship picture. Give it about 90 days. Let's see. Grizzled Young Veterans, they cut a promo talking about how they want the tag team titles. So they're going to be watching the MSK match next week, as MSK are going to be defending the tag titles. Let's see. There's an Imperium package that's cut where Walter talks about how Alexander Wolf is gone, and you know, he's gone because he was weak, and weakness is not allowed in Imperium. Walter is calling for the other guys in Imperium to step up. You know, now is the time to show how sacred the mat is once again. And he pretty much did not like the fact that and I totally understand that. He grilled them for losing the tag team titles to Breezango, and pretty much letting them know defeats like that is just not acceptable whatsoever. And he's looking for them. He basically has given them a new creed to get out there, fucking get the job done, represent the country, show the entire world what their mat wrestling skills is all about. Because in that ring, that mat, what they're able to do, it's very sacred. So we'll see if that's going to be enough to reinvigorate Imperium going forward. And also another burning question, we're going to add some new members to Imperium. Bronson Reed had his title celebration. He talked about how the title represents being willing to fight for what you want, what you believe in, and everything. Legado del Fantasma, they came in there. Santos Escobar was talking about how this business was born to him. He was born into the business and everything, and trying to lay claim to that championship around Bronson Reed's shoulders. So we got us a nice little setup here where, okay, it's obvious Santos Escobar, he wants a piece of Bronson Reed. He wants a piece at that championship of his. You know, it's obvious that's the direction we're going. So I think those two guys, I think that should be a pretty damn good matchup. I gotta tell you, the Bronson Reed promo, look, I get it, because when I look at Bronson Reed, I like Bronson Reed. He's pretty phenomenal in the ring and everything. A little too babyface though, you know, because, you know, I see him doing all the crazy, devastating stuff that he does in the ring and everything, and sometimes he comes off, you know he's trying to come off menacing, intimidating, and all that with his size and all, but sometimes he comes off like a big old teddy bear at times, right? And this promo that he cut right before Santos Escobar came out and everything, you know, I'm just looking at him and everything, and I just couldn't help but say, hey, he's like a light version of Samoa Joe, only he doesn't have that bite. He doesn't have as much bite. He doesn't have as much sizzle and everything. You know, and that's the funny part. He's got facial hair, and he still comes off a little too. So, to my point, I just don't know if the babyface route is the way to be going right now with Bronson Reed. I think only time will tell, but for now, the fact that he's playing along with Santos Escobar, he's been growing on me, and as you longtime listeners know, it wasn't an overnight type of deal. It took me a couple of months to finally start really coming over on Santos Escobar's side and everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing what those guys are going to be able to do. That should be a pretty good feud that's going to be coming up. See what else we got here. We already talked about the main event match. Wow, we've already gone through the NXT card when it's all said and done. That was pretty quick. I'm just thinking about some closing moments here with regards to the show overall. Good show overall. I definitely would say scale of 1 to 10, 1 being 10 being I probably would say this was, I would probably give it a, let me look at these matches again. Hang on. Let me look at these matches. See, good, pretty damn good. I would say a 7 out of 10. That's not too bad. I can't go any higher. I damn sure can't go any lower. You know, pretty good overall. It was a good output that they put out there. Yeah, kind of slow, a little steady, but pretty good. Now let's talk about the ratings for NXT. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking as far as NXT ratings go for this coming week. But first, let's go back and let's look at the ratings for last week's NXT. I want to give you guys the ratings and the segment breakdown and all that. By the way, you guys are enjoying the show so far. If you haven't done so already, please go out of your way and make sure you hit that like button. You also hit that subscribe and hit the bell notification so you know about more content coming your way on a regular basis. Now, I'm seeing so far we've had a couple of skipped frames. I got a couple of programs opened here. Let me just close a couple of them, and that should actually smooth things out a little more here. Let me save that. And we should be good to go. And as I kind of told you guys at the top of the show, if for any reason, particularly YouTube audience, Twitch audience, Twitter audience, if you notice the stream, it stops and it, like, I don't know, starts back up again, let me know, and I'll try to see what I can do off the fly at my end, because that doesn't make any sense for you guys to be looking for, okay, this is the first half of the show, now I gotta look for the second half of the show. Like, no, we're not doing any of that silly shit. Forget about that. Let's keep rocking and rolling here, all right, because it's now past midnight, and I want to try to have this show be as short as humanly possible. All right. See, how long have we been on the air, by the way? Let me see how we're doing recording here. Where are we at right now? Looks like we probably got about maybe, what, a half hour, give or take, maybe about 35 minutes so far. So we're blazing through this pretty good. Let's talk ratings, all right? NXT, let's talk ratings. Let's see. So looking at the ratings from last week here, let's pull this up. All right, so NXT for this past Tuesday, they had scored 700,000 viewers. Not too shabby, okay. So let's look at the quarter by quarter breakdown here. So quarter one segment, Zoe Stark taking on Toni Storm, opened up with 652,000 viewers. Not bad. Quarter two, Cameron Grimes segment, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell segment, Finn Balor, Karrion Kross video, 674,000. So it went up by 22,000. Quarter three, Cameron Grimes taking on Jake Atlas. Probably, if not the first time ever, maybe the second time that something involving Cameron Grimes has actually scored a high number. 728,000 viewers. Up 54,000. And when you go back and you look at the overall numbers for this respected show, Cameron Grimes had the number one highest viewership quarter segment. So that's pretty good. Pretty damn good. Pete Dunn, meanwhile, quarter four, Pete Dunn interview, Killian Dane taking on Alexander Wolf, Raquel Gonzalez, and Dakota Kai promo, 725,000 viewers. That went down 3,000. Quarter five, Legado del Fantasma taking on Timothy Thatcher, Tommaso Ciampa, 751,000, up 26,000. So up to this point, Cameron Grimes now gets bumped. Cameron Grimes gets bumped to number two. That's still pretty good, though. That's still pretty good. Let's see. Bobby Fish, quarter six, Bobby Fish interview, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell segment, Johnny Gargano, Austin Theory promo, Aaliyah taking on Saray, Shotzi Blackheart, Amber Moon promo, 722,000 viewers, down 29,000. Quarter seven, Hit Row taking on Arya Daivari and Tony Nese. That also included a William Regal promo. 649,000 viewers, down 73,000. By the way, love the little promo that Hit Row had cut tonight. Pretty much a continuation of what they had put out there from last week. You know, they're pretty much eyeballing all the champions and everything. But I think that's one of the best refreshing stables that is coming about right now from NXT. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Johnny Gargano taking on Bronson Reed, 683,000, up 34,000. And your overrun, End of Gargano taking on Reed, 720,000 viewers, up 37,000. So, you know, what did we learn here exactly? Well, we learned here that Cameron Grimes, you know, where it counts the most, you know, he's pretty strong. He's actually pretty strong there. So it's nice to see a rare instance where he gets a pretty good segment that, you know, where it's actually a plus and not a negative. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Because you would think that, okay, a Cameron Grimes segment, because you notice the trend. Normally with his segments alone, after it's if it's after a match or what have you, it's just it's always down. But here's an instance where no, we got a Karrion Kross segment where numbers are up and he's wrestling on this same card, and he pops up just shortly after that segment aired. Boom, good shit right there. So I like that. I like that a lot. I'm most curious to see how they're going to be doing with that $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase LA Knight. I'm a little bit concerned about that one. I would not be surprised if a decent amount of folks maybe had changed the channel at that point. Just kind of looking at the trends that's been going on there with Karrion Kross in the segments here. And let me actually piggyback a quick second here. And let me actually go back to my notes. I want to see exactly when Karrion Kross came out for that $1 Million segment here. Yeah, so this was shortly after Martinez taking on Ramir. I'm gonna say that segment should go up. Because if you're just kind of following the trend a little bit of tonight's show, I think for sure they're probably gonna open up at about 700,000 plus with Blackheart, Amber Moon, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez. They should be able to open up at about 700,000 plus. And then continuing on, Pete Dunne, Bobby Fish. That has to be a gain. I'd be shocked if they actually lost viewership during that matchup. And then pretty much setting up the Karrion Kross recap. Mercedes Martinez promo from Hit Row. I can see maybe for those promo packages and all that, I could maybe see it going slightly down a little bit. Include your Mercedes Martinez, Zeta Ramir. I could kind of see that segment going down. Yeah. Ted DB. I'm gonna say that $1 Million face-off. I'm gonna say that actually is going to be slightly down, but it's not gonna be the lowest rated segment of the night. I'm just not seeing that for this week. So we'll see. But keeping all of that information in mind, as far as the ratings go for this week, 700,000 NXT did. I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to say Lakers played tonight too. Lakers played tonight. I'll say NXT did 700,000. I'll go ahead and give them a 700,000. I'm going to say exact number. And I got a pen right now. I'm going to say NXT does about 719,257 viewers. Again, 719,257 viewers is the final number that I'm looking at for this week's show. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling. A lot more showtime we got here. A lot more content we could get into. We'll get into NWA Power in just a hot little bit. Meanwhile, let's get ready, and I definitely want to try to bring in some more listeners here. So bear with me a quick second here. And I actually want to open up by talking about Adnan Virk, who is apparently no longer with the WWE. Give me a quick second here. Talking about Adnan Virk, who is a little echo there. All right. And let's bring in some folks here. I'm just going to post in the Discord real quick here. See if we got some late night owls while I'm still doing my thing for a hot little bit. And while I'm doing that, quick programming note, I will be live with you all again at this point, Friday night, basically the beginning of Saturday. is when I will be with you all again. So be right here live Saturday night, 12 a.m. Eastern. I will be live after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. We'll talk about Dynamite Fallout. We'll also go over actually, bear with me a second here. Yeah, we're good. We'll also go over the card for Double or Nothing that's going to be coming up for that weekend. We'll also cover, we'll be able to also get into SmackDown as well. We'll talk a little bit about SmackDown. So that should be fun. And what the hell is that? Oh, what am I streaming? Oh, that's cool. Apparently I'm streaming. Oh, cool. That's cool. Okay, cool. Let me just post in the Discord real quick here. Talk. Got some questions. Sorry, guys, we're good. Bam. So Adnan Virk, the baseball guy, the MLB guy. So he is done with the WWE. It was so funny because I had asked a question. It wasn't how I wanted to start my day, I got to tell you, because I was actually on my way to work and I'm just going through Twitter. I'm looking up, random little news stuff, and I see Adnan Virk was trending there for a hot minute. I'm going, Jesus, what did this guy do now? Because normally when he's trending, it's because the fans have a lot of negative things to say. And I clicked this go round just to see what was going on this go round. And he was released officially by the WWE. And he put a nice little short, brief statement out there. And you're just going, whoa. So I find out about this, and one of the first questions I have in my mind is, God damn, did this guy even make it 90 days with the WWE? And in the official number, as far as the amount of shows he was able to do with the WWE, when you're thinking about Raw specifically, he only did 7 Raws. He only did 7 Raws, and he's already out of a damn job. Now, I got to be honest with you guys. I'm not a fan of those that wish for people to lose their job. I'm not a fan of those that, he deserves to be fired or she deserves to be fired. I've never been a fan of that type of talk, and it just boggles my mind to see so many of these, as I like to describe, sometimes they are really big bad keyboard warriors that talk this real good hot game online. But when it comes time for them to, okay, now it's face to face, what's up? Meow. It's one of those type of deals. If you ask me straight up, I'll tell you, my mentality when it comes to getting fired, and I learned this a long time ago. I learned this 20 plus years ago at a warehouse I used to work at, and I was somewhat friendly with the manager that was there. He took a nice, good, strong liking to me and everything. He loved my go-get-em attitude and everything. And he told me, he said, Lee, I hate firing people. But you know what I take comfort in knowing? I'm like, what's that, sir? I'm not the one that's firing people. And I looked at him, and he could kind of tell I was a little bit confused by that. And I was a much younger man at the time, and he said to me, well, look, it's simple. You lose your job, you get fired by me as a result of not doing your job. It's as simple as that. I don't like firing people, but if they're not doing their job, it makes it quite easy for me. So I don't have sympathy for those that's not doing their job, not doing what they're supposed to. They want to cry a river over the fact that they got canned. It's like, well, what all did you do to keep that job? That's kind of my mindset. But I don't like seeing anybody lose a job. I just don't. And to see the amount of people that were just, oh, good, oh, yeah, you know, it was just, Jesus. You know, here we are in 2021 and we got motherfuckers that are just salivating over the fact that somebody that they didn't like is now out of a job. Kind of sick when you think about it, really sick when you think about it. Honestly, what I felt probably was, if there was a final straw or any of that with regards to Adnan Virk, I honestly feel that Adnan probably, look, when it first began, he was first offered the job, I'm sure he probably said to himself, hey, look, this would be a really good experience, kind of nice to have under my belt. You know, I've always been kind of interested in the world of pro wrestling, kind of followed it a little bit off and on, but it's been many years since I kind of went back into it and everything. You know, I should be good to go. This should really be easy. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Oh, man, this is a cool job. I only got to show up and do this thing over here with these guys, you know, typically once a week, you know, twice if there's a pay-per-view, and easy freaking money. So, you know, I'll be home before you know it, blah, 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 blah. So I'm sure at first he most likely looked at all of those things and said, yeah, sign me up. And I mean, who wouldn't want to sign up for an opportunity like that? I ask any man or woman out there, if you're in a really cool position where, hey man, we're willing to give you about $100,000 a year, you know, for your salary, and you know, all you got to do right now is show up to Florida and call a wrestling match. Okay, so basically I'm showing up once a week and we're going to do some pre-production stuff, but you know, mainly I'm pretty much just going to be calling the action. And then if you got a pay-per-view, then okay. Man, it's kind of cool when you think about it. So you show up that one day a week, sometimes 2 days for that week, and you pretty much have what, maybe 4 days, possibly 5 days to yourself, if you're lucky, to spend with your loved ones and all of that. Okay, you know what? That's pretty good. But now, here's where things get really interesting. Now, you got WWE making the announcement, hey, July, we're going back on the road. We're going back on the road. House shows are coming back, all that good stuff. So you can't help but kind of look at that. Now, again, I don't know about you guys, but what first seemed pretty good at the time, initially, now you're going, oh shit, there's even more dates. So I'm potentially going to be traveling a little bit more. Man, it's already kind of taxing as it is. I mean, just really kind of stop and think about that. Adnan Virk, you know, much older guy. I don't think he's older than me by that much. If I'm not mistaken, I think he is, because I'm 40. So I think Adnan is either 43. No, I think he's 42 or 43. I think he's going to be 43 in a month or two or something like that. So, you know, here's an older guy, has responsibilities. I believe he has kids. That can be very taxing. That can be very, very taxing. So honestly, I wouldn't be that surprised if Adnan Virk just really kind of stopped and thought about it a little bit more and said, nah, you know what, it's not for me. And also, I really wouldn't be that surprised if he really did a lot of soul searching and said to himself, you know, I want to put, and I have put all of my heart into this and everything, but I just don't feel like this would be a really good fit. I got to go with the flow. This just is not for me. And that's where we are right now. I wouldn't be surprised if that was probably his whole mindset. So the fact that he is now gone as the play-by-play commentator for Monday Night Raw, you know, I probably was one of the rare few that kept telling everybody, have patience, give this guy some time, give him an opportunity to really get his feet wet, really start familiarizing himself with the roster, who's who, the storylines. He's going to come off better. Just give him time. Have patience. That was my message to everybody. Sure, we got people, it's easy for people. This person is garbage. This person is shit. It's easy to complain. But then when it's time to, okay, no, here's some constructive criticism. Here's some constructive feedback. Here is how you need to improve. And one of the things that I would always stress when it came to Adnan Virk on commentary was he's got to get more familiar with the story angles. He's got to get more familiar with the wrestlers. If that means he has to pick a random wrestler or a couple of wrestlers each week, sit down, talk to them, find out some, interesting little shit about them, so be it. Research. If it means he's got to be spending free time looking up their shit on YouTube, looking at a little greatest hits compilation or whatever, so be it. But if he's that serious about it, he's that determined to make it work, he's going to make it work. But my message was to you guys, have patience. This guy just needs to work on these areas, and he'll get there in due time. Look, did I care for his commentating? No, not really. Normally when it comes to Monday Night Raw, I personally have the TV on mute and I have music playing in the background while it's on. Probably the only show when it comes to the commentating that I actually will allow to go and I'll actually listen is usually NWA, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. And I usually let Impact Wrestling. I usually listen to the commentary of Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown. I actually think they click pretty well together. Definitely Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. I think they are very refreshing together, and I love how Pat McAfee does a nice job of really trying to have Michael Cole feed into that energy. Michael Cole's trying to do his own thing, but Pat McAfee is like, nah, brother, you're gonna go along with me on this ride. You ain't gonna keep doing your usual bullshit. And I love that. It's kind of forcing Michael Cole to loosen up even more, and I like that. I like that a lot. So look, not for nothing, but Adnan Virk, doing his thing for DAZN. MLB was doing his thing for the longest time there with ESPN and all that. It is what it is. It is what it is. Now, what does the future hold? That's the real question. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Phillips were to come right back next Monday. Perfect world, I would love to see Samoa Joe back at the commentating position. I think Samoa Joe, but it was weird because it seemed as though the last couple of months, right before Samoa Joe's exit from WWE, it seemed as though he was dialed back drastically from the Samoa Joe that we first, oh wow, hey man, he is fucking good. So perfect world though, give me that Samoa Joe that was making Monday nights very interesting to hear on the commentary standpoint and everything. But it's almost kind of safe to say maybe we're going to be dealing with Tom Phillips in the very near future. Once again, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Or honestly, here's something else that could potentially happen. It's a long shot, but with the impressive job that Pat McAfee has been doing thus far on SmackDown, it's very possible. It's very possible that Pat McAfee could be the new guy on Raw, and maybe you just have Corey Graves go back with Michael Cole over on SmackDown. I think Pat McAfee would hold his own pretty damn good as the main lead guy, getting that support from Byron Saxton. But then it becomes, okay, well, who's your third guy? Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, do we really need a third guy? I mean, you go on SmackDown and it's just 2 guys. Why do we have to have 3 guys on Raw? I don't really think we need 3 guys. That's just me, though, but you know, we'll see what happens. I think the smarter logic is probably going to be Tom Phillips back at the helm again, so we'll see how it pans out. Hey, let me get into some Patreon shout-outs. Remember, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio video content there you won't be able to find anywhere else. Shout out to our Patreon members, Anthony DeBlasi, Don Tony. Shout out to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Shout out to longtime RCWR show supporter, Gino Morgan. Gino! Shout out to Tony Bing Gaming. You want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers. Check out Tony Bing Gaming for your tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, and reviews. He's got your hookup. Shout out to JD Davis. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Who else is in there? Screaming Bulls 1. Almost forgot about my man Screaming Bulls 1. A fantastic wrestling sculptor. If you need custom figures or bust made, make sure you hit my man up. Screaming Bulls 1. He's on Twitter. Screaming Bulls 1. Put in the actual number 1. So we talked NXT ratings. We talked about Adnan Virk. Interesting update with regards to Drake Wuertz, the NXT referee that, yeah. Oh, that guy is just something else. That guy is something else. Well, Urza Judge, you remember, he was one of the guys that was released by WWE. He was a former WWE talent. He was released by the company earlier this month and everything. He recently had conducted an interview. It's definitely worth going out of your way and checking out. But he talked about an incident involving referee Drake Wuertz. And I definitely want to read to you just a small part of that quote, direct quote right here. There was one other person who went as well. Ashanti the Adonis went. He was showing me how to tie the ropes. Drake was in the middle of the ring, and there was something on the other side of the ring. A turnbuckle pad or something. Drake being Drake, he was yelling, "We need somebody here right now." Me and Tuhiti, Miles, were tying the knots, and he looks at us and says, "You two get up here right now and put the pads on the turnbuckle." I slowly turned and looked to him and said, "We're doing this right now. We're going to finish this and then we'll get to that." He snaps, just yelling at the top of his lungs, "No, you get in here right now." I slid into the ring. Everyone is watching. Me being who I am, I got up and in his face and said, "Don't ever talk to me like that again. Not even my father talks like that to me." He had said boy or something like that, something that triggered me. I don't know anything about him. I don't know him from the next man. I know that he's different. So I got in the ring, looked him in the eye, and told him, oh, and he took a step back and started yelling again. I slid out of the ring and said, "Let me talk to you outside." Everybody is like, "Oh." I walked outside. He came out and we talked like men. I said, "Look, I know you've been here a while. You're a man. I'm a man too." I asked him, "Do you think you were respectful? Even if you thought I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, do you think you respectfully asked me to do what you wanted me to do?" He was like, "No, man, you're right. I'm the type of person that will nip it right there in the bud. If I feel like you're being disrespectful, I'm not going to continue to allow you to be disrespectful to me because I've shown you nothing but respect." We had an eye to eye, and that was the last day Drake did that to me. I didn't have an issue with him. It was one of those things where after it happened, I walked back to the locker room and everyone was like, "Good on you. That's how you stand up for yourself. You weren't doing anything wrong. you're doing what you were asked to do. Sometimes you have to check somebody because they'll keep walking all over you and talk a certain way. That's not how I operate. So what did we learn here? Don't take shit from nobody, for starters. Kind of something I've been telling you guys on the show off and on. When all the facts are on your side and you know that you've done nothing wrong, and you can counter whatever bullshit somebody is trying to spew at you with logic and facts. What do I always tell you guys? Stand your ground, speak your piece. I had a guy, I don't think I had mentioned it here on the show. If I did, I apologize if it's redundant. I had a guy that was in my line last weekend. And he didn't like the fact that I was wearing a bandana as a mask. And I said to him, I said, well, sir, I was like, I really don't need to be wearing this because I'm fully vaccinated. You know, I got both of my shots. I wear this just as a continued formality. It's like, you tripping over me, you really should be tripping over those that are not wearing any type of face coverings whatsoever and has not been vaccinated. And he just kept going on and on about my bandana and how it wasn't basically germ proof and all this other shit, you know. And I told him, I said, well, look, man, not for nothing. I said, but, you know, this is kind of symbolic for me, what I'm wearing, because, you know, a close friend of mine who's no longer among the living had gave this to me, you know, told me to wear it for good luck. And it's brought me a lot of luck. Knock on wood. Nothing's happened to me health-wise. Got both of my shots. I'm good to go. Now, normally, you say something like that, kind of hard for a motherfucker to come right back and try to say, but yet he continued to. And finally, I just told him straight up. I said, sir, I said, if I were to be as paranoid as you are and everybody else, you know, we would have no reason to be leaving the house. We would be going fucking crazy. Well, I didn't say fucking, but I think I said frickin'. So we'd be going frickin' crazy, you know. And I told him, I said, if it's got you rattled like that, what's going on? You can always buy your groceries online and have them delivered to your doorstep. You don't have to worry about contact with anybody. And he just continued to be all bent out of shape. And finally, I just told him, I said, look, I said, that much of an issue for you? Like, there's management right over there. And, you know, they pretty much told him off, you know. So, yeah, he didn't get anywhere with them, you know. But it's like, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like when you have nothing but the facts on your side and everything. Here's the thing. I was being respectful to this guy the whole time. And here this guy was probably racist. Here this guy was pointing his finger all in my face, raising his voice and all that other shit. And it's like, oh, my man thinks that I'm a Johnny come lately. He thinks I'm some little punk kid or something. That no, I'm a grown ass man. You know, we're either going to handle this like professionals. We're going to handle this like adults. You know, or I'm just going to be done with you and just let you go mouth off to somebody else, basically. So yeah, you know, you got to have a backbone. Some of my friends, some of my family members, I'm sure you guys probably have a friend or two. You know, sometimes you see them in a position and you go, hey man, why did you allow that to happen? Why didn't you get on that? Why are you continuing to let them have their way with you? Why you continuing to, you know, let them talk to you any old type of way? You don't have to put up with that shit. What's wrong with you? Da 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 da. And you know, you got some people, I respect it. You know, you got some people, they don't want conflict. I get that. But sometimes you gotta, especially if you want that respect, sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty and you gotta have yourself a little bit of conflict. You got to. Because so many people are watching, man. So many people are watching. Hey, with regards to those lovely women that were around MVP and Bobby Lashley from Monday Night's Raw. We got the identities of some of those women, man, particularly the one I was feeling in the silky polka dot dress. Turns out she's a personal trainer. Her name is Yessi Mina. We also had Jessica Borga, who is a Bellator MMA fighter. I thought I recognized some of these girls from somewhere. Also, fashion model Ajaza Sadat, Christina, and fitness trainer Mia Lance. So, FYI, now you know. And I think on that note, let's go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about NWA Power. And other than that, we'll pretty much wrap it up. So let's see. We came on at a little bit after 11:30. It is now about, so we've been on for, so by the time we get done talking about NWA Power, it's going to almost be about 90 minutes. So I'm totally fine with that. All right. So for this week's NWA Power, we were joined by commentators Velvet Sky, Joe Galli. But wait, we had a special guest that was with us for a majority of this episode of NWA Power. This was their season finale edition of NWA Power as well, as we won't pretty much be getting NWA content. Well, I would think they're probably going to be doing something next week. I wouldn't be surprised if they're maybe going to be doing a superpower or something like that. But anyway, this was the season finale, as everything was setting up the When Our Shadows Fall pay-per-view event that's going to be dropping on Sunday, June 6th. You'll be able to check that out on Fight TV. Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, joined Velvet Sky and Joe Galli on commentating. Loved it. Nice welcome breath of fresh air. Although I gotta say, I miss Tim Storm. Want to know what's going on with my man Tim Storm, man. Once again, they said he was out on assignment. Kratos and Aaron Stevens, they were chatting it up with Cal Davis. Cal was in his own Calish way, was trying to get to the bottom of what's been going on with the continued animosity, the heat that's been building up, the beef that's been building up between Kratos and Aaron Stevens. And, you know, now for the first time, it kind of feels like in many weeks now we have Aaron Stevens really confronting verbally Kratos what his issues are. And Aaron Stevens pretty much lays into him, hey, you know, I don't like the way in which Kratos is getting the results to justify the means when it comes to these victories. You know, I don't like the way he's conducting himself. Me personally, I just want things to be done a right way. You know, that's just me. I don't mind picking up the W's, but I want to do it the right way, right? So, you know, once again, we're seeing this continued trajectory of an Aaron Stevens that you know, if you want to look to a focal point, question mark, and pretty much everything that he's doing for the rest of his career in the NWA, he's pretty much dedicating to the memory of the question mark and all. We're really seeing him continue on that trajectory of just trying to be an admirable fighting champion and all that, trying to do things the right way. And Kratos really was not feeling any of the words that Stevens had to say. By the way, Stevens, Kratos had a match that was up immediately after talking with Cal Davis, as the NWA World Tag titles were on the line. Kratos, Aaron Stevens defending against the War Kings, Jax Dane and Crimson. Good matchup. Actually was a pretty good matchup. I thought for sure there was going to be such a severe communication breakdown between Stevens, Kratos, that we were going to be getting new NWA Tag Champions crowned. Did not happen. Surprisingly, it did not happen. And it seemed like if there was ever a match where shit's about to pop, this match, I mean, these guys just kept talking trash to each other. And you got the freaking War Kings, they're looking on and they're pretty much, yeah, we got this. Look at them, we got this. I like how at one point, Aaron Stevens, he's getting ready to do a little something, and then Kratos just tags himself in, and he uses some profanity, but tells Stevens to get his ass out and pretty much let a real man show you how it's done. I mean, the animosity, it is just there. It is just there. It goes back to what I've been saying off and on. At this point, the only thing that's really keeping these two guys together is the fact that they are the tag champions. But if it wasn't for that, they would definitely be going at each other's freaking throats by now, without a doubt. But controversy in this tag match, as Stevens and Kratos, they retained with some help. Referee was all distracted and everything. We see some guy, light-skinned guy with a hoodie, pretty much comes from out of nowhere, and Cole clocks the hell out of, I believe it was Crimson, he knocked the hell out of. And you're going, who the hell is that guy? And I gotta tell you, even when they showed the instant replay of it, that looked like Slice Boogie. So I'm very curious, Slice Boogie, what's going on there? Why is Slice Boogie poking his nose in the business around the NWA World Tag Titles there? And, you know, was he acting on behalf of Kratos? Because him and Kratos, they, you know, have they been talking off and on these past couple of weeks? And is maybe something going to blossom as far as a tag partnership between these two guys? Or some unfinished business there with Crimson? What exactly is going on there? We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But that appeared to be Slice Boogie, without a doubt. Next up, Nick Aldis was in action. Nick Aldis was fuming at the mouth. He was pretty pissed off, particularly at Joe Galli. I don't know why, but he was just focusing so much of his animosity over the fact that we've got this 14 battle royal match. Whoever comes out of that will be challenging Nick Aldis for his 10 pounds of gold at the When Our Shadows Fall pay-per-view. So he's still pretty livid about all of this that's going down. And one interesting name that we find out that's going to be included in this 14-man battle royal, which was the main event match of the evening, one Trevor Murdoch. And that just had Nick Aldis freaking livid. He did not want to do anything as far as interviews anymore, because he was originally being interviewed by Cal Davis, and he was his usual showboatish self, was Aldis, cracking jokes on Cal Davis, cracking jokes on Joe Galli and everything. The question was asked about what's going on there with Strictly Business. You know, you have these guys pretty much forfeit their tag title shots opportunities, and, you know, all in the name of trying to protect, you know, you and your championship title reign. What's going on there? And Aldis addressed that. He pretty much said that, no, you know, when we do what we do, when we make decisions, especially decisions as important as, you know, what happened a couple of weeks ago, we do it as a unit. You know, we don't just look out for ourselves individually. You know, I know it might have came off as one way, but so, I mean, he was doing a nice little job backpedaling and all that. But once he found out Trevor Murdoch was involved in this main event match for the Battle Royal there, he was done talking. We saw a whole different demeanor, and he took all of that frustration out on Mims. You know, this was supposed to be a nice little exhibition match, right? Just a nice little fun. But I mean, he went into this just almost pulling an Ivan Drago on Apollo Creed, man. I mean, you just couldn't help but say, damn, poor Mims. I mean, just mop the floor with the poor guy. Thunder Rosa took on Kamille. This was the fucking match of the night. If there was ever a reason to check out NWA Power, of all the NWA Power episodes, you gotta represent. You gotta check out what these two girls did. These girls actually went to the time limit. They actually went to the 20-minute time limit, and it was a great back and forth. Apparently, there was some wardrobe malfunction that came about on the side of Taryn Terrell. We didn't get to see it. It's all good, as it was blurred out and all that in post-production. So, I mean, that's good. But it was so funny because when you see Taryn Terrell try to interfere, you know, I guess one of her boobs popped out or whatever, and all of a sudden the screen just goes grainy. You know, it's like pixelated, you know, fuzzy grainy, and you get this clear white text that basically pops up letting you know, due to a wardrobe malfunction, you know, this scene has been and edited accordingly. And all you hear is Taryn Terrell screaming, and you see this little blonde freaking blur that's just running around the arena, as you see Melina, you know, who's now a blur that's just chasing around after her, and all you hear is just Taryn Terrell screaming, hilarious shit right there. I loved it. I loved it. I ate it up. Thunder Rosa, Kamille going to a time limit draw. Remember the stipulations that was going down in this matchup too. If Thunder Rosa lost to Kamille, then she could never work for another wrestling promotion, MMA promotion. She couldn't work for nobody else but NWA. So this goes to a time draw limit. So Thunder Rosa didn't lose. So in essence, she can still continue to do what she's been doing all this time. But at the same time, we still don't have a decisive victor. So what does this mean for the When Our Shadows Fall pay-per-view event? What does this mean exactly? You know, an interesting dilemma that's going on right there. Do we get a rematch with Thunder Rosa and Kamille? Do they face each other yet again to try to figure out who's going to be the winner? And this go round, no time limit. That way we can try to figure out who the number one contender is going to be. Or does this become a situation where maybe Serena Deeb is going to have to defend that NWA women's title in a triple threat match, and she's going to have to defend it against both of these girls? There's a lot of interesting between now and that pay-per-view. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'll tell you this much right now, though. I know AEW Double or Nothing is going to be coming up and everything, and Britt Baker is going to be taking on Sheeta. But as far as Serena Deeb and that NWA title goes, that's just going to, you know what? And I can't help but wonder, you know, I know we're supposed to be getting into the AEW card on Friday's show, but I can't help but wonder if Serena Deeb is even going to be making an appearance at Double or Nothing this weekend. So actually, let me look at the card real quick, because I'm just curious if she's going to be in action. And, you know, I doubt it, since all the focus is on Sheeta and Britt Baker. But let's see what we got going on here. I'm looking at the card as we speak. Yeah. So Serena Deeb is not even on the card. So yeah, that really makes When Our Shadows Fall even more interesting, you know. So a couple of things to think about as we get ready to go into that pay-per-view. But is it safe to say that Serena Deeb's days are numbered as the NWA Women's Champion? Oh, hell yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt. Hell yeah. Her days are definitely numbered. I love Serena Deeb too, man, but I love me some Kamille, man. Kamille is no fucking joke. No fucking joke. I almost dare say what Kamille and Thunder Rosa did on this week's NWA Power, that might be a match of the year candidate for me. I no bullshit. I'm not exaggerating. You got to really go back and, you know, you got $5 laying around, spend it on the Fight TV. You'll thank me later. But that was a really damn good matchup. Let's see. I think on that note, it's our main event. Yeah, it's our main event, the Battle Royal. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I did not understand this whatsoever, and I'm a stickler for detail, man, but I just... Okay. So we find out the participants, all the participants for this 14-man Battle Royal. And I actually want to try to get all the names for you guys, so bear with me a second here, because we read some of the names from last week. But, hang on a second here. We read to you guys some of the names from last week, but we pretty much had got the other half of the names on this show and everything. So, hang on. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can pull up the rest of the names for this one. And if I can't pull up the rest of the names, then that's okay. I mean, what really counts is who freaking won. But I think I'm going to be able to get you guys all the names for this one. Let's see. No, that's amazing. That's amazing because, and it's not my fault. The one time I should be, Lee, you fucking blew it. You blew it. I was relying on NWA to give me all the names of the guys that were in the ring, but they did not do that. So I was a little disappointed by that. And so far, hang on. Let me try one other place where I might be able to get the names here. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, I got the names. All right, so we have Marshe Rocket, Jeremy Plunkett, Mims, Slice Boogie, Fred Rozier, Matt Cross. Let's see. We also had Thomas Latimer. Chris Adonis was one that was able to enter this. Now, you're hearing this and you're going, wait a minute. How the hell was Chris Adonis able to get into this matchup? This doesn't... Because remember the stipulation that they had with the guys that were able to enter this Battle Royal. The stipulation basically was people that... I think they said something along the lines of folks that have not held a NWA title or something along those lines. But you're looking at Chris Adonis and you're going, okay, he might not be holding the 10 pounds of gold, but this guy does have a championship around his waist. So why is he able to enter this match? Like, we're confused. Well, Billy Corgan had accepted it, but apparently Chris Adonis gave up his NWA national title just to be able to enter this Battle Royal. So you hear that, you're kind of going, what the fuck? Okay, so it's a real serious numbers game here as far as, okay, this is pretty stacked. This could go a couple of different directions here. Saul Ronaldo was in this as well. I'm actually looking at a picture of all the guys that was in this. There's a few other, did I say Mims? I think I said Mims already. There's a couple of other guys. Oh, Pharaoh was in this one. Who else? Trying to think who else was in. Crimson was in there. Jax Dane was in there. I'm probably missing maybe 2-3 guys. I'm looking at the picture right now. There's like 2, maybe 3 guys whose names it's not coming to me right now, sadly. And that's only because I haven't seen them enough on NWA Power to go, oh, you know, so you guys got to give me just a couple of more episodes and I'll definitely have everybody down. But this one, I got to say, for their Royal Rumble, they did pretty good because it pretty much was all about 1 foot, just 1 foot has to touch the floor. Doesn't matter how it happens, doesn't matter if it's over the rope, in between the ropes. If 1 foot hits the floor, boom, that person is eliminated. So I like how they simplified it here. Pretty good. Towards the end, and I got a problem with this, your final 4, oh, Brodus Clay, yeah, Tyrus was in there as well. Tyrus, Across from Tyrus, Trevor Murdoch. Across from both of them, Thomas Latimer, Chris Adonis. Now here's where it gets really, really weird. And Pulp, I just don't understand this, because you got Chris Adonis, you got Pulp. No, sorry, you got Chris Adonis, you got Thomas Latimer. It's obvious they're going to do a handicap on Trevor Murdoch. Tyrus looks over at Trevor Murdoch and says to him, hey, you and me, we can take these guys on. Let's go ahead, let's do this. All of a sudden, for no apparent reason, the Pulp grabs on the ankles of Tyrus, pretty much drags him outside the ring, makes one of his feet touch the floor. Tyrus is eliminated. And Pulp does a piss poor job hauling ass. I mean, he just gingerly, just with his little towel, just walks to the back, and you've got Tyrus, no. And he's just kind of, he's not even running. He's just, no. He's just kind of power walking after him. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I mean, that just made no sense to me whatsoever, because God, I'm just kind of going in my mind of what I've been seeing on NWA Power these past couple of weeks. And the Pulp, D'Angelo De Niro, has pretty much, no, daddy, you want the shot at the Pulp? You gotta do it the right way. I don't give shots like it's candy. You gotta come get it the right way. You gotta come the correct way, daddy, yo. And okay, so he's coming off as this admirable, respectable champion. That's the whole point I want you to gather, right? He's coming, oh, this guy's so classy. He's so professional. He's so, he's badass. And you constantly hear about this man possibly getting one step closer, because I think he now needs 3 more TV title defenses, and he'll be able to challenge Nick Aldis for the 10 pounds of gold. So you would have thought that Pulp definitely would have been paying very close attention to this match. And really, okay, so whoever is going to be facing after, give me 1 second here, guys. Give me 1 second here. Boom! That's how we take care of that. That he really would have been focused on fucking this match, and okay, I'm just eyeing the competition. I'm just trying to see, you feel where I'm coming from? Very odd how they had Pulp, and I can't wait to hear how they go about cleaning that up, because he's been this admirable fighting champion, and yet what he did to Tyrus was pretty fucking dirty there. So did he do what he did because he honestly felt that Trevor Murdoch really wasn't going to have a shot in hell? And what he did there, he was just trying to help kind of balance things a little bit there for, it's kind of one of those type of deals. Very, very, very weird. Very weird. FYI, I do see any and everything that's being said in the chat. There's no reason to spam something out, right? If you just spam yourself out and you're just trying to get my attention, that's not gonna go well. That's gonna get you muted real quick. So please come correct. Anyway, let's keep rocking and rolling. So Trevor Murdoch ended up in that little handicap there between Thomas Latimer and Chris Adonis. He pretty much came out on top. Nick Aldis steaming hot, pretty pissed off. Chris Adonis is trying to explain what happened, but Nick Aldis is not trying to hear any of it, and he lays in heavy on freaking Chris Adonis and tells him and Latimer, get the hell out of my sight. And he proceeds to get into the ring and beat the crap out of Trevor Murdoch. I got one beef here. With regards to this segment. I really wish that when Nick Aldis was starting to beat the crap out of Trevor Murdoch, but then Trevor Murdoch started to get the upper hand on Aldis, at that point, you could actually see Chris Adonis and Thomas Latimer just casually walking to the back. I just wish, I'm a stickler for detail, I just wish they would have just paused, look at the action that's going on there. Vladimir decides he wants to go into the ring and help, right? And tries to help. Give me one quick second here, guys. God, you must be so sad. You must be so sad. It must be so sad that you can't think of anything else to do but create multiple accounts just so you can get acknowledged. That's quite sad. Quite sad. God, go get some pussy. Anyway, I can only picture the people that's listening to the audio version of this show, and they're kind of going, what the fuck is Lee talking about? It's like, you gotta be included in the show when it's live. That's how it goes. But I tell you what, since we're pretty much just about done with the show, this is actually what I'm going to do. Bear with me a second here. Where is that? That's how we'll take care of that. Boom. So, one little thing as far as attention to detail. I just wish that Thomas Vladimir, since he has that deep friendship, that brotherhood and all that's going on with Nick Aldis, I just wish it would have been a situation where Thomas Vladimir actually tried to jump into the ring, but Chris Adonis grabs him by the wrist and is basically like, nah, man, fuck that dude. Fuck that dude. Let's go. I wish it would have kind of ended like that rather than we just see them casually walk off in the distance, going into the back of the curtains and all that shit. That's just me. That's just me. But good episode of NWA Power. I particularly enjoyed the passionate promo that Trevor Murdoch gave afterwards, and pretty much talking about how much he loved and respected the late Harley Race. Talked about how he used to always look at Harley Race's NWA championship when he would make his way into Harley's office and all that. You know, talked about how he's one step closer to, you know, living the dream, and how he wishes Harley Race was somehow still here today to be able to see him and everything that's happening right now at this point in his career. And he promises Nick Aldis that come when our shadows fall, bring the A game, bring his best game. But when it's all said and done, he's going to be walking out as the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And that pretty much was NWA Power. Really solid episode. I love being right, man. I said it like a couple of months ago. I said, and people thought I was crazy, I said, Nick Aldis, Trevor Murdoch, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And I told people, I said, look, this is like your modern day Ric Flair, Harley Race, when you really think about it. And at first people were like, nah. I said, no, it is. I'm like, really, it's your Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes. It's like Nick Aldis is Ric Flair, and Trevor Murdoch, he's Dusty Rhodes. And the more people actually had thought about it, oh, you know what? Yeah. This actually would be a good feud. And now it kind of seems like we're going to be getting our wish there. Should be a phenomenal matchup. I'm looking forward to it, man. Seriously. All right. So let's see. How long have we been on the air now? We came on at about 11:30. So 12:30. Yeah, 12:30. Yeah, so you guys got about what, an hour 45 minute of a show? Stick a fork in it. We're going to call it D-O-N-E, done. So at this point, your next edition of the RCWR show, that's going to be coming at you guys Saturday night. Please mark this down. I don't want you guys to forget. When AEW Dynamite goes off this Friday night, they're going to be going off at 12 a.m. Eastern, so basically beginning of Saturday. That's when I'm going to come on live. We're going to talk AEW Dynamite Fallout. We're going to preview the Double or Nothing card. I'll offer predictions. We'll go over Dynamite rating projections. Any other AEW news that we got, we'll go over that as well. We'll also talk about SmackDown Fallout. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the NXT ratings, because by then, not only are we going to have the NXT ratings for this Tuesday, but we're also going to have the ratings breakdown. So a lot more stuff that we'll definitely be able to get into on the on that edition of the RCWR show. I keep wanting to say Friday night, but technically it's like a late Friday night, Saturday edition of the show. So tune in for that. That should be good. I'm thinking we'll probably go about an hour, because I see when you guys are most active on YouTube. So that's the only reason why, like, shows like what you got tonight, that's why it came on as late as it did. That's why we're having it go as late as it is right now live, because I see when you guys are active. So trying to compliment you guys' schedule based on the analytics there. So hopefully you appreciate that. I'm going to put Monday's show again, in case you missed it earlier. Monday's show, we were having tech issues. So the entire show in one sitting is 2 hours, 42 minutes. It's available on our Facebook page for anybody that is looking for it. It's just a webcast version. I'm going to actually have it premiere Wednesday afternoon for those of you that missed it. I'll have it premiere on YouTube. And by then, the audio version, that'll be available Wednesday afternoon, wherever you get your podcasts and all that, you dig? So just hang tight. Appreciate y'all's patience. Meanwhile, Be Kind Rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. One more time, you guys enjoyed yourselves. You had fun. Hopefully you did. Please make sure you go out of your way if you haven't done so already. You hit that like, you hit that subscribe button, and you click on that bell notification so you know about more content that comes your way on a weekly basis. Appreciate the love and the support as always. For those of you that had tuned in live, appreciate you. I wish I could have reacted to some of the stuff that was being said in the chats, but it was just kind of, it's kind of hard for me, because unless it's something that is, I think Gino and Steve and a couple other guys, they kind of know what I mean. It's got to match up. It's got to sync up perfectly with what I'm talking about. Otherwise, if it's just like, I'm trying to find the right words. Let's just end it on that note. When you just don't have the right words, no more needs to be said. It's kind of one of those type of deals. But anyway, get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR show. Till next go around, wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round.